Well, halfway through the warm-up, we'll be back with the competition, but that seems like a good moment to take another break.
Je rappelle, s'il vous plaît.
Technique. Balance. France Telecom is the partner of the French Federation and of the European Union of Gymnastics.
Fly direct to Seoul with Korean Air. From London, Frankfurt, Paris, Amsterdam, Zurich, Vienna or Rome. And from Seoul you'll have the fastest connections to the major cities in Japan and Southeast Asia. Korean Air.
Durante las semanas siguientes controlé con exactitud todos los movimientos. Me dejó impresionado la profesionalidad con que trabajaba.
Unlimited performance.
Eurosport Live.
Welcome back. Just coming to the end of practice. Borginskaya, the last to go, and she's halfway through her session on the beam. The notable absentee, but we shouldn't be surprised on this piece of apparatus, on the real top finishers in the all-around, is Tatiana Lysenko, who would certainly have been in the medals had she not fallen from the beam in the all-around, scored 9.4. And she really does have a problem on that piece of apparatus. She fell in the all-around in Indianapolis.
Première gymnaste à se présenter, Tatiana Gutsu, Ukraine.
Tatiana Gutsu, this time she's got to go up first, so this perhaps her toughest test, because now she has to set the standard. Beautifully steady on the mount. Twisting back somersault. I can't tell you how difficult that is on beam. Imagine that you have to come down in exactly the same plane as you took off when you've done a 360-degree rotation of the body lengthwise, as well as the somersault. She is so confident, she is going so well. Slightly offline, but no real crisis there. Again, that full twist, making it very difficult. The original move, the Corbett flick, named after the great Olga Corbett, who performed it right back in 1972. Full in, back out, look at the speed, look at the attack. And again, a superb exercise. Tatiana Gutsu showing that she certainly doesn't crack under pressure. Just a little adjustment there. The move, though, so difficult. Some of the judges, I'm sure, will ignore that altogether. And she was slightly offline on the Corbett with full twist. And there the dismount. A full in, back out, not content just to do a double back somersault, puts the full twist into the first one. So many twists there in a beam exercise, and that makes it very much more difficult. It'll be interesting, though, to see the judges' scores. There were certainly two little tiny mistakes. You could put 0.05 away for each of them, and it looks as if that's what they've done. Some haven't. You can see there's a 9.95 up there from the Polish judge, but the rest all agreed. 9.9, just those tiny mistakes. Now, can anybody go above that? Wanda Adarian. Scored 9.862. She's not quite so confident on this piece of apparatus. Long pauses as she builds up to her difficult moves. It was lovely when she started it, though. The gainers again, these little steps into moves, making them much more difficult because you can't set yourself up and make sure that everything is absolutely in line. Flick, somersault, somersault, and then the Corbett flick on the end of two somersaults. A four-move sequence. They really are pushing further and further. When Olga Corbett first put that move into her routines, there was a great gasp, and now it's slipped in as a fourth move on the end of a combination. Double back to finish with. An excellent routine from her. There, the front summer half twist. The Barani. Free back walkover. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of Wanda Adarian. The competition's so great. Here's this sequence in the middle. And there, the Corbett flick. A little bit offline there. But so much difficulty in there. She paid the penalty for a little bit of untidiness. 9.837. But my goodness, when she gets all that absolutely tidied up and beautiful, she'll be hard to beat. Elena Grudneva. Well, she held the line beautifully. Flick, somersault, somersault. The compulsory pirouette. They're known as voluntary exercises, but there are certain compulsory elements in all the exercises, and that's one on the beam. Double tuck back somersault. Well, if I was going to criticize the exercise, it would be that there was nothing very difficult in it going forwards. Very much more difficult to do forward somersaults on the beam, and she tended to walk the beam going forward with split leaps I mean, difficult combinations, but not very difficult ones. Elena Grudneva from Russia. Yes, 9.825, just behind Adarian, and I'm sure one of the reasons for that was the lack of forward difficulty. Now this little girl, Gina Gaugian, had 2 falls in Paris in the apparatus World Finals and scored only 8.75, but it really is a spectacular exercise if it goes well. Lovely extension she gets into those somersaults. You saw it in the vault when she was coming off the horse backwards, and you saw it again there. The marks on the beam for the gymnast to make sure that their positions are exactly right. Oh, and she's come to grief again. That full twisting back somersault is just so difficult. We saw Gutsu perform it and hold on to it, but Gaugian couldn't. I remember the first time I ever saw that performed, it was in practice in Budapest in 1983 before the World Championships, and Marta Caroli, Bella Caroli's wife, was putting... Sorry, stopping there at the double back finish. Well, the rest of the exercise was beautiful, but I'm afraid the fall puts her right out of contention. And she was putting Grigorash through her paces, and it wasn't going right, and she kept falling off, and it took her about 15 or even 20 goes to get it right, but Marta Caroli just kept pointing back to the beam and said she wasn't going to finish her practice until she'd completed it successfully, and eventually she did. It's sometimes very tough being a gymnast. But the point of all that was to make sure that under the pressure of competition it all went well. Well, the boo's going up, but I don't know what they expected. 9.412 when you've had a fall is an excellent score, because she was only being marked out of 9.5. Ludmila Stoil-Chataya from the Ukraine. She competed in the afternoon session along with Lysenko and Adarian, finished 6th overall. Good variety, showing a lot of confidence, working across the beam there. Corbett with full twist again, and that was performed beautifully. Able to work out of it. Again, something that we haven't seen. It's amazing how the gymnasts do develop these moves and refine them. When Shushanova was doing it in the late 80s, she really landed so heavily on that move that you wonder whether she wasn't doing herself some damage. But the judges didn't penalize for that because it was so difficult. And a full in back out to finish. That is class work from Stoil-Chataya. A tremendous exercise from her. Everything went really well. She's delighted. Alexander Alexandrov. Now he'll be in charge of the women at Barcelona. He's in a strange position at the moment. All these coaches are going to have to decide where they're going to do their coaching. Now, Stolchetaya really making a bid here. Certainly for a medal, and maybe even for gold. Tatiana Gutsu, remember, in the lead at the moment with 9.9. She's gone second, just behind Gutsu. And the crowd showing their disapproval, but I'm sure she'll be delighted with that. She can get into the medals. So Ludmila Stolchetaya going second. And this is Ruth Roland from Spain. She finished 9th in the all-around. Great result for her. Oh, she did very well to hold on to that. You could see how she was offline. And there again. The full twist and the Corbett flick. Nice to see the two front free walkovers. Watch it again. Oh, that was the crisis point of the whole exercise, but she held on to that beautifully. In fact, she was so far offline there on the replay that you wonder how she did manage it. Gripping with her toes. Ruth Roland showing a beam exercise with a lot of difficulty in it. 9.737, 5th at the moment. Kristina Molnar. 4th in the Europa Cup on the beam, and her sister Andrea is reserved for this final. Two backs. A change leg split and then 2 split leaps. Lovely balance. Doing a back flick into the little split leap. She's a very elegant gymnast and is showing it to great effect on this piece of apparatus. Front somersault, there's the big difficult front element, and she landed that beautifully too. This is going very well at the moment. And she's setting things up beautifully for Svetlana Boginskaya, who is still to come. And that was the most inelegant part of the whole exercise, really tucking her knees behind her ears to get round on the double back somersault. But she landed it safely. Look at that. No need for any adjustment at the end. That was a lovely exercise from Kristina Molnar. All the hours of hard training worthwhile. The front somersault there, look, again, very confident landing. Those knees really splayed to get round. And there's Svetlana Boginskaya. Well, these have been very, very disappointing championships for her so far. But she is the reigning European champion on this piece of apparatus, as she is on, or she was on all of them before the start of these championships, having made the clean sweep in Athens last year. And this, her last chance for a gold out of the 1992 European Championships. She didn't qualify for the floor final because, as we saw in that replay of yesterday's all-around competition, that was where she made a big mistake. Scored only 9.325, so she didn't qualify for the floor final. 9.825 for Kristina Molnar.
Dernière gymnaste à se présenter, Svetlana Boginskaya, Biélorussie.
Svetlana Boginskaya now going for gold, her last chance. And she does that so easily, you can hardly believe it's a front somersault mount. Just as Kristina Molnar brought that elegance to it with her height. You can see it again here with Boginskaya. And again, as steady as a rock. Well, 9.9 she's got to beat at the moment. The exercise is really going perfectly for her. I haven't seen the slightest wobble. Oh, and she sticks the landing as well. Now that surely must give her the gold that she's been coveting so much from these championships. She's such a competitor, no matter how many golds she's won before. She would be incredibly disappointed if she went away from Nantes without a gold in her bag. And a wave to the crowd. At last, something has gone absolutely as planned. Look at that. She came out of them, and she's even got the crowd all behind her. Sometimes they find it hard to get behind Boginskaya because she is such an unemotional competitor. Well, she doesn't show anything, at least. But it's hard to see that going better. She made a mistake in Paris a month ago in the final when everybody thought that she could take the world title again. There it is, it had to be 9.95 gold for Boginskaya. No tens, all the judges absolutely agreed Everybody gave her 9.95. So she's got the gold that she wanted so much, and at the same time she's prevented the clean sweep for Tatiana Gutsu. And she'll consider that a triumph too, because don't forget she did it last year and she wants to remain as being unique in having done that. And you can often see from the reaction of the coaches, not only of the gymnast herself, but of the other gymnasts, that they either don't like a decision or they all agree with it. And they were all taking time off there to congratulate Boginskaya. A very popular victory for her, on one that nobody is doubting she deserved. There's confirmation. Boginskaya takes gold. Tatiana Gutsu this time has to settle for silver, and Ludmila Stoilchitaya takes the bronze. Well, no sooner is that one over than the gymnasts are coming back into the arena for our last final, the floor. We'll take a break before that.
Technique. Balance. France Telecom is the partner of the French Federation and of the European Union of Gymnastics.
Der Tag geht. Johnny Walker kommt.
When you fly Korean Air Prestige Class, you enjoy the most generous business class, with the comfort and service most others reserve for first. Our dedication to excellence will make your trip the best you've ever had. To be the best, that's the spirit of Korea. That's Korean Air Prestige Class.
Barcelona 1992. The pace of the Summer Olympics on Eurosport. The only live 24-hour pan-European coverage of the 1992 Olympic Games. This program is brought to you by Ricoh. Nike. Panasonic. TDK video cassettes. And Star Printer. Barcelona 92 from July the 25th to August the 9th. 24-hour coverage live on Eurosport.
The weather report is brought to you by Uniroyal, the rain tyre. Here is the weather report for Europe at midday. And here is the the forecast for tomorrow. Finally, temperatures throughout Europe. The weather report was brought to you by Uniroyal, the rain tyre. Football, the European Championships '92. England, Scotland, Sweden, the CIS, Germany, Yugoslavia, Holland, the European title holders, and France. 8 European countries, the cream of football battle for the honours. The European Championships '92 are brought to you by Eurosport in association with JVC, Minolta, and Nike. The European Championships '92 commencing the 10th of June here on Eurosport.
Eurosport Live.
Welcome back for the final session in these 1992 European Championships, the floor final. Vanda Adarian just completing her preparations, and there is the start list in order. Adarian, followed by Molnar, Mitova, Legros, Gojian, Gutsu, Ignatova, and Lysenko. The reigning junior European all-around champion. Oh, lifted that wonderfully. Terrific height. Yet another one choosing music with a lot of Spanish guitar in it, perhaps hoping that she's going to make the team for Barcelona, and then hoping to carry favour with the Spanish crowd by using music that they'll be familiar with. Double tuck back again. All the tumbling runs have to be different. In the middle one, you'll notice that she put in whip back somersaults to make it different, even though she finished with the same double tuck back somersault at the end of each run. She's a very cool performer. 15 this year. Full in, back out. Full twist in the first somersault. This is the middle one. Whip, flick flack again, and the double back. So that one, round off, flick, whip back, flick, double back, giving her 5 tumbles in the sequence. Here she goes straight into the round off, flick flack, and double back somersault. That's the final one. As you'd expect, she's getting tireder. But a good clean exercise, and there's no question that here in Adarian and Gina Gojian, the Romanians have unearthed more great talents in gymnastics. 9.85.
Molnar, Hongrie.
Well, we saw Christina Molnar in the beam final. Now her sister Andrea on floor. And the Hungarians also putting together a formidable team for Barcelona. Full in, back out, beautifully accurate. Don't forget that their star gymnast, Henrietta Arnodi, who did so well in the World Championships, took a silver on floor, in fact. It has not come to these championships here at Nantes. She decided that exposing herself once to the rest of the world, her opponent, triple twist and then punch front out of it. Whew. She nearly didn't make it, but it's amazing that she even tries. But Arnodi, after a very disappointing championships in Indianapolis, bounced right back at Bercy, and with the Molnar sisters as well, Hungary are going to have a formidable presence. And no wonder she's puffing. That really was an explosive routine on floor from Andrea Molnar. The acceleration. Saw how clearly that she got the full twist into the first somersault. Three twists and then the little punch front. But that was perhaps the bit where she came adrift. 9.787. She has to get that exactly right. Sylvia Mitova. Now, her last time in France, she'll want to forget, because at Bercy in the Apparatus World Championships, she injured herself on this first tumbling run and couldn't continue. Look at that double layout punch front. Got it absolutely right that time, and she's quite obviously suffered no ill effects. Again, superlative tumbling. Mitova came second to Vanda Adarian in the all-around competition in the Junior European Championships in Athens last year. Oh, and again, just showing off. The double tuck back to finish with, but not content to leave it at that. She does a little punch front somersault out of it. Incredible tumbling. The dance still has a long way to go, but Sylvia Mitova performing superbly, and what a happy smile. That certainly banished any bad memories of Bercy. Look at this opening tumble. Double layout back, and then front somersault, and straight back on the other diagonal. Incredible. And punch fronts out of that too. It just shows what an incredible awareness she has of exactly where she is as she twists and somersaults. And she takes the lead, 9.875. A real split in those marks. Some giving her as high There's 9.95 there was in there. Well, the biggest cheer goes up for Mélanie Legros from France. Their only representation in a final. Legros equals 6th in qualification. Oh, incredible. 3 whipbacks in the middle. And a double back on the end. Very strong, powerful gymnast, very much in the Kim's Nesgal mode. Double tuck back, still plenty of strength. And there it is. Mélanie Legros romping through that floor final. And that's great for her because really she had a very poor all-around competition. Finished 31st. Had falls on the asymmetric bars and on the beam that took her right down, but on floor she was superb. Double layout opener. 2 straight back somersaults. And then this middle tumbling round. Look, 1 move, round off. Flick, 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 3 whip back somersaults, the flick flack then, and she goes first. Well, 9.9, an incredible score. The exercise went beautifully for her. And there'll be no more popular mark than that on French soil. Really, that middle tumbling run was what did it for her. Gina Gojan, another great tumbler. Watch this. No problems at all. Whips it round, and again that great awareness of exactly where she is. Double pirouette. Absolutely knees together on that double tuck back. And she's so petite that I really think she could break all records for the number of tumbles you can do across a diagonal. And full in, back out at the finish. The stacks of strength there as well. Again, just really seems to enjoy the whole exercise, blowing a little bit at the end, but there was so much in that. I'm surprised that she's not feeling like collapsing to the floor. Round off. Whip back somersault, flick flack, full in, back out. Now 9.9 she has to beat. Mélanie Legros from France in the lead. And she goes into the lead. Yes, it had that much more difficulty in it. 9.925. But I think she's a little disappointed. Look at her face. She's looking as if to say, well, I thought that went absolutely perfectly. Melanie Legros acknowledges Gina Gogian's mark. Now, Tatiana Gutsu. She can't now emulate the feat she achieved in the Europa Cup in Brussels by taking all 5 golds. But if she wins this final, she can take 4. Just fell out of that double pirouette a tiny, tiny bit. And she was a little bit short on her opening tumble landing. There was nothing at all wrong with that one, though. Oh, and again, as she was in the all-around, just a tiny bit short, having to step forward out of that final full-in back out. Now, for me, that wasn't quite as good as the performance that she put up in the all-around. She scored 9.95 then, and that's what won her the title. But she was, just as you see, a little bit low there on the end of that first tumbling run. That marvellous tumble, though, where she shows her space awareness by splitting the legs before going into the double layout. Here's the second one with the whip back somersaults in the middle, and look at her now coming down nice and straight on that one. 9.925 she's got to beat. Gina Gogian, and I think that she's probably going to be just about level. It's going to be 9.9 or 9.925, I think, because for me it wasn't quite as good as her performance in the all-around. There's the full in back out, her final tumble, and you see she was quite short there. And they've dropped her below 9.9. Well, quite right too. There were the mistakes there. 9.887. I've got no complaints on that. And the cheers go up from the French crowd because they realize that that leaves Melanie Legros in the silver medal position. But she still could be pushed out. Tatiana Ignatova, the second Russian. The top finisher for Russia in the all-around. Well, she held on to that well. Exploded into the tumble, but almost lost it and went careering out at the corner. Just held on. Ignatova had a terrible time in the all-around. Scored just 8.8 on the asymmetric bars and 9.175 on beam after a fall. That put her right down in 39th. Full in back out to finish. And all that went pretty well, apart from overcooking it, and we'll get a chance to see that again in a moment. An anxious look over to the corner. I fancy that she was asking a coach or even the judge whether she stepped out, in which case she would have got a 1/10 deduction automatically. Full in, back out, and the big step backwards. But I think she held on to it. It's impossible to see whether she stepped out or not. Double pike back in the middle tumbling run. The anxious wait. And these championships have been superbly supported by the French people in Nantes, over on the Atlantic coast at the mouth of the Loire. And a long wait. Some dissension from the judges, but the cheers go up again from the French crowd, because 9.875, and that means that now whatever happens, Mélanie Legros is in the medals. Even if Tatiana Lysenko performs at her very best and goes ahead, Legros can only be pushed into third position at worst. Took the bronze medal in the World Championships in Paris. Now can she take the gold here in Nantes? Ooh, major mistake there. She can't afford another one now at all. She held on to it rather elegantly and made it look good, but that was almost a disaster. Third in the floor exercise in the World Cup as well. Lovely, very fluent. What a good sequence. Double tuck back, a little punch front, and came spinning out of it. And a good double twist. Was equal first coming into this final, scored 9.95 with Tatiana Gutsu. Full in, back out, and again she was a bit short. That was a major step forward. Well, I don't think that's going to be good enough for gold. I think that could well be gold for Gina Gogian of Romania. Tatiana Lysenko is a wonderful tumbler. And for me, in fact, she's got the best balance between tumbling and dance of all the competitors here. And look at Mélanie Legros. She knows that she's won a medal in the European Championships, and how thrilled she must be at that. That was the first big mistake. They cut her short as the leg was lifting, but she was also very short on the final tumble. And even being kind to her, that ought to be 2.05s away, which would bring her down to 9.9. And absolutely right, 9.875. Lysenko made mistakes and paid for it. So the gold goes to Gina Gogian, and a great wave to the crowd. You'd think she'd taken gold from Mélanie Legros. And that will give an immense fillip to French gymnastics. They must be thrilled to bits. As I said, what's particularly remarkable is that she had really a rather poor all-around competition. 9.687 on the vault, 9.3 on the asymmetric bars, 9.325 on beam, falls on both of those pieces of apparatus, but 9.837 on floor, which took her through into the final, and then she gave it everything on the day and came up with that 9.9, and well might she wipe away the odd tear. It was the other French gymnast, Chloé Maigre, who had by far the better all-around competition. She did superbly to finish 7th, but she didn't make one final quite. She was the reserve on beam and asymmetric bars. But Mélanie Legros, having made a mess of everything else, qualified for floor and took her chance when Ignatova and Lysenko and Gutsu all made mistakes. She didn't, performed absolutely out of her boots on the day and gets a medal for it. There's the confirmation. Gina Gogian of Romania, the gold with 9.925, Mélanie Legros 9.9, the silver, and the bronze going to Tatiana Gutsu. Well, we're in France, and it's our French camera team. We're not even seeing Gina Gogian at the moment, but who can blame them for concentrating on the moment of glory for Mélanie Legros. These championships coming so soon after the World Apparatus Championships are minus a few of the stars. And many people thought that